All right, guys, everybody, welcome back to the 10 count. We're here to review the Shakur Stevenson, Oscar Valdez fight and the Serrano versus Taylor fight. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. What are your guys' thoughts on the Valdez and Stevenson fight?
My heart is still broken, guys. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. Huge Valdez fan. I thought he could pull it off. He tried his hardest to follow whatever game plan it was that he was supposed to follow. I think it was a bad game plan. I already kind of didn't think he was gonna be able to beat Stevenson, but I thought he was gonna do a lot better than he did. He looked frustrated. He looked out of place. He didn't look like the Valdez we know. Um, we could say that Stevenson made it hard for him to do what he usually does. Maybe. Or my thoughts are with the game plan that they had was not a good one.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
I agree with you. I thought that I was shocked because I knew it was a possibility that Stevenson would outbox him for the whole fight. But I didn't think it was gonna actually happen. I thought we were gonna get a closer fight. I thought Valdez's power was gonna be more of
Actor.
a factor in the fight. Yeah, a factor. And I also thought that they were gonna come in with a lot better game plan. I agree. I'm nothing to take away from Stevenson for sure. You know, he fought the perfect fight. But Valdez game plan he looked lost. He looked frustrated. And he just looked like he didn't know what to do. He looked like he was fighting a game plan that he didn't want to fight. That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Didn't feel comfortable following.
Yes,
I
exactly.
also thought that Valdez was gonna put up much of a competitive fight. I knew that more than likely, I knew that Stevenson was going to win. That was my prediction. I actually thought he was gonna stop him, which he did not.
It's
But
cute.
I thought Valdez was going to put more pressure and be more competitive. Uh, it was more like it seemed to me like he wanted to catch him with one shot, like alpha counter, like maybe he was trying to block a hook and throw his own hook or something.
Mhm.
And it was just not working out. He wasn't too slow because his punches sometimes were catching Stevenson.
Yeah.
Valdez is not slow, but I think his feet movement was it because by the time that he wanted to counter Stevenson, Stevenson was already out of there.
The thing is that he was
And
walking
yeah,
in with nothing to try and set up any
All
big
right.
punches. He was just swinging
So
them.
I think Valdez's keys to victory. He was having a lot of success with that straight right hand.
Yeah, the
yeah,
lead
I don't
right.
know why he didn't continue doing that, or why, or if Reynoso told him to do it, why he didn't do it. I don't know. We weren't seeing the freaking corners because of stupid
Yeah,
commercials.
we hate
That was
those
stupid.
commercials.
mm,
But you know,
Um,
they did say during one of them, because I do know it was like 2 rounds like in a row that he was leading with the right hand, and it was working. And
yeah,
then in one of the corners, they did tell him just stay to the game plan. So it kind of feels like that wasn't the game plan, and he stopped doing it after that. I might be wrong, but that's what I thought I
I,
heard.
I don't know, but I think Valdez's keys to victory were to put a lot more pressure than he did
Hmm.
and continue to throw that right straight, man. That was bugging Shakur whenever he was landing it,
Yeah.
yeah,
and he didn't do it. What I think Shakur could have done better is also Valdez wasn't doing much. He should have went in with
put it
more
on him.
power punch. Yeah,
Yeah.
bro, he should have made him look bad, and he really didn't do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
play it safe.
but yeah, what do you guys think? Valdez and Shakur could have both did better, or the way they could have won, or
I I think honestly, I think a game changer. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but this is my opinion. A game changer would have been if Valdez started jabbing more. Even if his jab is not better than Stevenson's, if his
Even
jab is
even if it
constantly
didn't
out there,
land, even if it didn't
yeah,
land.
if it's constantly out there, it's gonna make Stevenson think twice about throwing punches.
Hmm.
And also, whenever Valdez connected a shot and then he jumped on Stevenson, all Stevenson could do is just do this
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and try to clinch him. So I think he could have definitely put more pressure on Valdez, and it would have
Yeah.
changed the fight a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was watching some of the highlights before we got started, and some of the times when he was leading with the right hand, he was playing with it, not really throwing. He's throwing it more like a jab, and then he would get in, duck under Stevenson's jab, and throw a good body shot, and get him to the ropes. So the lead right was definitely the key in my opinion, because Valdez was not moving his head away from it. He was not reading it fast. I mean, maybe he would have adjusted. We don't know. Stevenson is a very good boxer. Maybe he would have adjusted. But definitely, I think Valdez just had a bad game plan, and I think his Reynoso kind of threw him under the bus at the end. I'm not gonna lie.
What did he do? I didn't see the interview.
In the interview, he said that Reynoso said, we had a game plan, it was a good game plan, and Oscar just didn't execute. That's what he said. And to me, and I think Christian as well, because we watched the fight together, we both kind of felt like Valdez seemed very frustrated and upset, and I think that he was more frustrated that he didn't like the game plan. Like, he wasn't comfortable. He wasn't comfortable fighting like that. That's not his style.
I think that's a speculation. But also, Reynoso looked pretty upset too. So they looked pretty upset and frustrated.
I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves Reynoso after this.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe if he was just frustrated with how the fight turned out.
Maybe.
I don't know maybe they were both just frustrated about how the fight turned out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But also, me and Jesus were talking about how we feel, or we don't really know, right? This is all speculations, but we feel like Reynoso thinks that everybody can do what Canelo does. You know, like change the way they fight or do things that Canelo does, and I don't think everybody could just do that. You know, like I think Valdez is good at doing what he does, pressure fighting, going in.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets hit, he gets hit, but he gives it back. And in this fight, he wasn't giving it back. He wasn't going in. He wasn't putting pressure. I don't know. And that's the second fighter, or third actually, if you count Ryan Garcia. If you count Ryan Garcia as a fighter. The game plans, they just don't seem like they're that good.
Right?
With the Martinez, I mean, like Edward said, it was like a really unexpected fight. He just took it out of nowhere, so maybe he didn't get prepared good. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on in that camp. I like the Reynosos, and I like the Canelo team.
Well, what I was thinking was that he's making a game plan, which maybe is not a bad game plan to begin with, but he's not making the game plan around his fighter's abilities. He's making a game plan that he thinks is going to work against the guy that they're fighting, but he doesn't take into consideration if his fighter has the abilities to pull it off. And then for him to say, like, Oscar didn't execute, because during the Martinez fight, when he fought Chocolatito, he also said the same thing at the end of the fight. He said we had a game plan and he just wasn't executing the way we wanted him to. So it just seems like he is making a game plan and then trying to mold the fighter into it instead of working with what the fighter has, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think maybe during training it seems to be working against the sparring partners. But then during the actual fight, it's not the same.
Yes, it's not.
And I saw a comment yesterday. That was funny. That I think is very true. Somebody said, "Well, there goes Reynoso's trainer of the year."
I said that too during the fight.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I do feel like we kind of covered a lot of what Valdez did wrong. So I think what we should do is give a little bit more credit to the winner and say where he can go from here. And in my opinion, he's in the top 10 of pound for pound. I think he's at least number 10. For sure, number 10, I think. For sure. He's a two-weight champion now. He just beat Valdez, which people were saying was knocking on that door as well. He beat him very impressively. Very impressively.
I don't think he's in the top 10. He's on his way, though, for sure.
Yeah.
He has the really good boxing abilities. Sadly, and I hate saying this, but that was not the best Valdez. You know, like, it was more of what Valdez didn't do than what Shakur did. Like I said, Shakur, the way that Valdez was fighting, he could have looked a lot more impressive. And he just looked,
I did think in the later rounds he had Valdez a little hurt a couple times and he could have pressed for the finish. And he didn't. But that's not his style. But I think as he matures and as he gets older, he's going to start pressing on that gas a little bit more for those finishes. Yeah. He's going to recognize that more. He's still young. He's only 24. You know, so I think the future is very, very bright for Stevenson.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope he gets up to 35 before all those guys move up. I know, Teofimo's already moved up. Garcia already fought at 139.
Yeah.
Devin Haney's gonna move up as well to 140.
The problem is these guys are not even fighting each other, bro. If this dude, even if he does go up before they move out.
I get that. I get that, but you have to understand too. Teofimo fought Lomachenko. Cambosos is fighting Devin Haney. They're starting to fight each other. They're getting in the mix. You know, they're getting in there.
They see Cambosos as the weakest link, bro. I think that's what Haney wants to go.
I think he shook up the division. He shook up. Haney wanted Lopez too. He was calling for it.
I don't want to be that guy, but I think Lopez shook up himself. But okay.
We're not even
Let
gonna
me tell
get
you
into
something.
all of that
Let me tell
today.
you something. Stevenson, you say he might be breaking the top 10 pound for pound. Right now, I'm looking at the ESPN rankings,
Hmm.
and from 7 and up, we have Josh Taylor, Lomachenko, Juan Francisco Estrada, and number 10 is Javante Davis.
Hmm.
Do you think he's knocking out Javante Davis from the pound for pound?
I think Shakur Stevenson's win over Valdez is better than any win that Gervonta Davis has in his resume. So yes, I would say Stevenson has a more impressive
Yeah.
resume at this point to be up there.
Oof.
I think
And
so.
if he goes up in weight, they're gonna be in the same weight class.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were in the
Yeah.
same weight class before Davis moved up.
Yeah. Before he
Maybe,
moves up.
maybe that's why
Yeah.
Davis moved up. Who knows?
Okay. Sure.
Yeah,
Why not?
Davis is pretty much going up and down though. He didn't just move
yeah,
up and then
yeah.
just get out there.
Yeah.
Well, he moved up and
Um,
stayed up.
I think.
yeah.
Oh, here's another thing. A matchup that a lot of people were talking about before was Lomachenko versus Stevenson.
Uh huh.
How do you guys think that would fucking go?
I think it's a chess match. But
Yeah.
one thing I did see is that for Stevenson, as slick as he is, he doesn't really have a lot of head movement. Because when
No.
Valdez was throwing that lead right, his head was right in the middle of the center line the whole time for it, and it was landing. It was touching him. It wasn't landing like devastatingly, but it was touching him. And I think against somebody with like Lomachenko, doesn't matter how fast your feet are because Lomachenko's feet are just as fast. But
Yeah.
it is an older Lomachenko now. He's getting older, so it depends when Stevenson goes up. And that's something I did tell Christian yesterday when we talked about it. I was like, if he moves up, the only ones he for sure will probably fight is Kambosos and Lomachenko because they're both too small to move up to 40, to 140.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so he'll for sure maybe end up fighting them down the line, and they'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure. Any last thoughts you guys have on Valdez and Stevenson before we move on to the fight of the year contender that was Serrano Taylor?
Why don't we talk about what happened in backstage on
Oh
the
yeah, I
fight?
forgot about that. That's true.
Yeah. I mean,
You guys not want to talk about that?
Yeah,
what
we do.
from what I mean, it's because I don't have all the facts. I don't really know exactly what happened, but from what I understand, it was that his mom wasn't being Shakur Stevenson's mom was not being let into the press conference when he was being interviewed.
Yeah.
And security mistook her. They didn't know it was her, and it looks like I think security was maybe trying to get a little rough with her because she was getting in, trying to force her way in, and they're trying to force her out. So Stevenson jumped off the stage, dropped the bells, dropped the mic, and ran over there, and then it turned into chaos everywhere.
Bob Arum was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, it turned into just chaos everywhere. Not a good look for Stevenson.
What a way to ruin his night, though, bro. Come
Yeah.
on,
I mean,
this is
it's
a
not a
big
good
night,
look,
man.
but then again, it's his mom and his family, you know.
I get that, bro, but
I
they.
get it,
But
too.
there's a
there's
thing. There's a
ways to
thing
do
though.
things.
There's a thing. He literally had a microphone in his hand that everybody can hear him, and he gonna be like, "Hey,
No.
security,
Wait,
that's my mom.
hold on,
Let
hold
her
on.
in."
I saw a video. I saw another video where he's talking to security, and he's yelling at them. What are you talking about? That's my mother. Let her in. And they don't.
I
They
know,
don't. And
but that's
I actually
after
think,
he jumped off and ran in
police
there.
tried to handcuff her or something like that.
But that's
They
after he jumped off the stage. He could have done it with the microphone in his hand, you know, or he could have been like, "Hey." Turn to Bob Arum and
Yeah,
at the
talk
top
to
rank.
him.
Hey, go get her in here. You know what I'm saying? Like there was ways to handle it. I understand, but
Yeah.
it's because he's young. He's young, and
He's
I'm pretty
young,
sure
Yeah, we can't
if
forget about that.
if
He's
I was
young.
24 years old and I had just won the world title and on the top
You
and
just beat somebody's
somebody's
ass.
pushing my mom, I'm probably gonna say
You
something.
didn't have to do
you
much
know.
to win the fight. You still have all your testosterone.
Yeah, I probably would have done something as well, you
Yeah.
know. So
That's true.
I can see
But
that.
still, I feel like they kind of ruined his night. You know. You
Yeah.
should've-
I don't
you
think it
should've
ruined
been-
it, but it did put a bad aftertaste, I guess.
I think.
You know, let's hope that he can keep his head on straight and doesn't get into any legal proceedings, since we do know he is not unfamiliar with controversy. I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah,
You mean
true, yeah.
hitting girls?
He didn't hit her from what I saw in the video, but it's too. I
Nah,
wasn't
it's
there.
not
I wasn't
easy.
there.
It's something that happened before that video too. Like it didn't start there.
Yeah.
All right, let's speaking about hitting women. Let's talk about the fight of the night.
It's a great segue. It's a great segue. Love it. I love it.
You guys,
Um,
what do you guys think about this
don't laugh.
fight? It was so for being the first main event, women main event. Bruh, it was perfect, so
Yeah.
perfect. and the crowd was so loud, bro. It was so loud.
It was
Like
so
we
loud.
could barely hear the announcer speaking. That was
The
amazing.
referee couldn't hear the bell in one of the rounds.
Yeah. They have to keep
It
ringing
was
it hell loud.
it was a great fight. I would do want to point out I went 2-0 this weekend. All right, I picked Stevenson and I picked
This
Katie
is
Taylor.
true. This is
All right.
true.
So did
And let me
Against
tell you,
Serrano,
there
though,
was
he won last
some
minute.
moments there with Serrano looked like she was gonna get Taylor out. I think it was like the
Yeah.
fifth round, sixth round, something like that.
something
Taylor
like that.
looked defeated for
She
like
looked like she was
6
gassed.
rounds, but it
Yes.
didn't matter. She kept throwing, bro. Like her face
Yep.
looked like, damn, what the hell do I gotta do?
After
But as soon as
after
Serrano would touch her up, she would come right back, bro.
I think it was like
crazy.
after the third round, Taylor was already looking gassed. You know, and I do remember Serrano had said, she's like, why don't we both petition the commission to let us fight 3-minute rounds?
3-minute rounds, yeah.
I
And
agree.
Taylor
That
was like, and
excellent.
Taylor said no. Taylor said she didn't want to do
Oh,
that.
that's crazy.
You know, she's like,
Yeah.
nah, let's just fight how it is now. We already signed the contract. And
Yeah,
then
man.
I hope there's a rematch. I did see online there was a lot of comments of people saying that
Dude.
Serrano was robbed, that it was easily a Serrano
Nah,
victory.
nah.
But I feel like she kind of gassed herself out a little bit trying to finish
think-
Taylor. She let her back into the fight.
And Taylor looks so big compared to Serrano. Too.
Yeah, she did.
I didn't
She
think
was.
she was that big, bro.
She's
She was
big.
big.
Yeah, she's a big girl, yo. She's a big girl.
Mhm.
Let me tell you
Damn.
something though. I'm gonna be that guy. Yeah, I picked Taylor, and by the end of the fight, I thought Serrano won. I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
I don't have a
I thought
problem.
it was really close,
I
bro.
think she
But
won
a
by like 2 or
robbery,
3
but a
rounds, yo.
robbery is when it's one-sided and then they give it to
Yeah,
the other guy.
no,
That was
yeah,
a
yeah.
close fight. It was
It
a
was
close
close, but I had Serrano winning, yo. Taylor didn't do much on her best rounds. On her best rounds, they
That's
threw
true.
about equal amount of punches. On her
That's
best.
true.
I
rounds,
think
yo.
it was a very close fight. Very
I
close
picked
fight.
Serrano, bro, and I had actually Taylor up by like 1 round or 2.
I had it 6-4 for Taylor. But me and Christian did talk about that fifth round, the way she was beating her up. It could have possibly been a 10-8
man,
round.
It was like 2
You know,
rounds that she was
So
beating her
so
up.
I think the scorecards are close either way. I don't have a problem with either of them winning. But I did
I wanna
have
see a
Taylor winning.
rematch.
I did have
I
Taylor
want to see
winning.
a rematch, bro. That fight was so good.
It was a great fight. I would love to see a rematch. I wonder what the bet that Jake Paul made with Eddie Hearn was, because I never really said anything else about it.
Like $1 million or something.
No. So
Uh,
they
it's
said
gonna be-
they're not allowed to bet because they're the promoters. They can't bet money on the fight.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn said that they made a different bet. He's like, I can't say too much about it, but if Serrano wins, I might be getting knocked out, and if Taylor wins, then Jake Paul's definitely getting knocked out. That's what he said. So I don't know. Maybe they made a bet where one of them's gonna fight whoever the other person picks or
Fight
something
Mike
like
Tyson
that.
or something.
I don't know who. I don't know. But it seems like an interesting bet. You know, I feel like it was a great night for boxing. There was a lot of good fights.
Yeah,
You know, Keyshawn Davis definitely got a good knockout on the undercard of Valdez and
What's the name?
Stevenson.
What's it, like
And,
4 or 5
the-
cooks?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
Ali knockout too, the grandson
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Ali. That
Nico
was a
Ali
nasty
washed.
knockout.
Yeah,
Nasty.
it was a nice right hand. It was a nice right hand. He's progressing nicely. You know, I
He
guess
is.
I'm not the big fan of, you know, I already said this before.
Nah,
He's
not
riding
me
his
either.
grandpa's coattails too much. You know, like even the
But-
trunks, they're like, oh, that was written by Ali. Everything's written by Ali. You know, so I get it. It's his grandpa, but at some point he's gonna have to forge his own way. You know.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing though, fighting and knocking people out and stuff.
Yeah. He's
For
progressing.
now.
He's progressing nicely for now. He's progressing nicely for now.
Yeah.
I think if I was Ali's son, the grandson, I'd be doing the same thing. I think you can blame him for that.
I'm not blaming him,
Yeah.
but I'm saying eventually he's gonna have to break out of that.
It's part of his promotion for now.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's just to get him into the spotlight, and then hopefully he breaks his own ceiling. You know, and it's possible he doesn't look. He's not terrible. You know, I've seen him hurt a couple times, but I mean he's still
Yeah,
fighting.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. Definitely, I would like to see a rematch with Serrano and Taylor, though.
Definitely.
For
That was
sure.
Such a good
For
fight. They had
sure.
us screaming, jumping up the couch and stuff. Oh
Yeah.
man.
They're saying since Taylor
Especially-
won, maybe they'll do it in
So
Ireland
war.
this time.
That'd
Yeah,
be
that's
cool.
what they were saying. That's what they were
That'd be
saying.
cool.
I think she deserves it. Homecoming.
Mhm.
Big
Yeah.
fight. Big fight. It's gonna be louder than this one, you know. And in the undercard, I know we didn't end up watching it, Christian, but I did watch the highlights before we started recording. Jesse Vargas was stopped by Liam Smith.
Oh,
I heard
I
it
didn't
was a
see-
war.
It was
Really?
a war. It
Oh,
was a
I'm gonna have to
war.
rewatch it. I'm
But
gonna
in
have to
the
rewatch it.
in the tenth round, they stopped it. It didn't look like the greatest stoppage, but I was only watching the highlights, so I don't know everything that happened.
Liam Smith is a lot bigger than him though.
They're
Yeah,
fighting.
a
Yes,
lot
Lot
that's the
bigger.
better.
thing. They're fighting at 154, and they were talking. The commentators were talking. It was crazy because they were both talking about maybe retiring if they lost the fight. And Jesse Vargas is 32. Liam Smith is 33. So they're both really young still, technically.
Yeah.
You know, but
Didn't
they're
Mikey
like,
Garcia also stop Jesse Vargas?
no, he beat him by decision, but he dropped
Didn't
him.
beat him by
He
decision?
dropped him.
Yeah,
He dropped
did.
him
I
though.
remember him dropping.
Yeah. But it was yeah. I don't know. I don't know where Vargas goes. I mean, he could continue his career. He has a decent enough name in boxing. You know, he could get co-mains.
Yeah.
He if he dedicates himself, gets with a good trainer like Reynoso, I think he could do really good.
He formulates a good game plan for
Do you guys have any closing thoughts about this weekend's fights or anything, or about next weekend's upcoming fight? Is it next weekend?
I think
I
we
think
should
it is
have a
next
different
weekend,
video for that.
Well, we could just do a little prelude. Canelo does fight next weekend, so we'll be back, guys, next weekend, next Sunday, after the Canelo fight. Maybe we'll do a little short video for you guys before the fight. We'll see where we go with our predictions. So you guys can join us again next week. You know, there's a 10 count. We'll be here forever.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Let's get it.